I'm from the Northern Beaches myself. Like you guys, I've been studying Japanese. I've been doing it now for 18 years and living in Japan for the last 8 or 9. So I'm here today on behalf of Meikan Asia Pacific University. We just call ourselves APU because it's a bit of a mouthful. And we're just going to have a little bit of a talk about maybe considering Japan as one of your destinations for study. Basically, Japan as a nation has 2 problems with it at this point in time, and one of them is that generally they're not very good at English, generally, as a whole. And the second problem with Japan at the moment is that its population looks like an upside-down pyramid, in that they have a lot more older people than they do younger people. Now, if any of you guys do economics, you'll know that you need a lot of young people. You need more young people than you do old people for your country to thrive, because they don't have a young workforce, so all of the people are paying into superannuation, all of the old people are using it. So basically, if you're young and you speak English, you've already got your foot in the door in Japan, because they need young people, they need to speak English because it's the business language of the world, yeah? So, and if you're studying Japanese as well, you've got a very good head start to sort of, securing a good future, with some of these Japanese companies. I don't need to tell you guys that super safe country, very friendly, very welcoming. If any of you have been, or you can talk to a Japanese teacher about, life in Japan. Usually if I go out in Japan to a restaurant or, coffee shop or something, before I order, I usually put my phone on the table and go and order as a way of reserving my table, and when I come back, it's still there. I don't think that'll happen in many parts of Sydney. So, one of the good things about us is that all of our programs, all of our services run in both English and Japanese at the same time. So you do your whole degree in English and we teach you Japanese at the same time. So even if you have no Japanese language ability, you can still apply to study English. If you do have Japanese language ability, then we do a level assessment when you come in and we put you into the appropriate class. But basically you do your whole degree in English and you have language subjects on the side. If you're really good at Japanese, when you get into 3rd year or 4th year, you can start taking subjects in Japanese. If you want to take marketing or international law or something like that in Japanese. The whole university is bilingual, so every office, health clinic, careers office, they all run in both languages at the same time, yeah? Something else that's kind of unique about us, and if you've been to Japan or if you've been to schools or universities in Japan, is they're usually not very international, but about half of our students come from around 84 countries. So we're almost, we call ourselves an international university, so half of our students are Japanese, half of them are international. Same with the staff, all of the officers, half of the students, half of the lecturers, half of the teachers come from overseas, and half of them are Japanese. So what does this mean, you say? So what? So within your year, with the people that you're studying with, you're going to be studying with, working with, living with, cooking with, probably arguing with, maybe even dating with people from 84 different countries. So you say, so what? Go home tonight and have a look at your Facebook and count your countries. I have 12. Most of our graduates have, at least 80 or something. They have friends from all around the world. So this is good during vacation, because wherever you travel, you want to go to Botswana, you want to go to Bangladesh, well great, you've got friends there, and they usually stay with their friends. And so you have a huge friend network, but it's not only your friend network, it becomes your business network. Yeah, so if you need to go and do business in Singapore, great, you know someone from Singapore because they were your classmate at APU. And what this kind of links into as well is getting you a job. So I went to a quite well-known university in Sydney, and I won't tell you their name because I don't want to tarnish their good reputation. But when I graduated, they said, thank you, go, leave, get out of here, never come back. And I didn't have a job. Yeah, I started looking for a job, and long story short, I ended up back in Japan working for local government. But the moral of the story is, if you go to a good university, it doesn't mean you're going to get a good job at the end. We do things a little bit different at APU. So basically in their 3rd year, students start looking for jobs, and by their 4th year, 95% of them have a job offer from these companies. And again, it's because you're young. As I said, Japan doesn't have many young people. You speak English, which is the business language, and we teach you Japanese. Okay, and also, as we look back here, you have quite an international outlook on the world. So if they want you to, if you're working for a company, even if you're working for Toshiba or Panasonic or someone, and they want you to work in, Thailand or Vietnam, you kind of understand how the people think there because you've been studying with people from around the world. And Something else that we do that's a little bit different is, for job hunting, you don't actually have to leave campus. We call all of these big corporations down, and you can do your job hunting and interviews without leaving school. So again, they know that our graduates are good, they know that they speak English, they know that we teach them good Japanese, and they know that they're international. So a lot of these companies come down and do recruiting with us. This is a few places that do recruiting with us at the moment. Obviously, I don't have a list of all 400, but you can see, you have all the top Japanese companies, Louis Vuitton Japan. The United Nations recruit with us. We have a lot of mainly Japanese companies, but you can see we have Emirates Airlines, places like Dell. Again, so if you're thinking about getting a job, or obviously, you go to university for the experience, you go to study, you go to learn, new things, but at the end of it, you want to have a job, hopefully, you want to have a job. So, what can you study at APU? This is probably one of the most important things. Basically, we have two faculties. So one of them is Asia Pacific Studies, we call APS, and this is like a social science, humanities degree. And then you pick one of these majors, and again, you study it in English, and then we're teaching you Japanese at the same time. Or you do business, international management, yeah? And again, these are the majors within international management, studying English, and we teach you Japanese at the same time. Now, a lot of this stuff I probably think is not too relevant for you. Study abroad is something that we're really pushing now. We have, agreements with about 120 universities throughout the world. And whatever scholarship you're on when you come in and study with us, you still get that scholarship when you go overseas. So I think I gave Travis a list of prospectuses. Yeah. There's a list of all of our partner universities overseas. So you can do 2 years with us and then go to Germany for a year, or you can go to Nepal or Indonesia or wherever you want, and you're still getting your scholarship from us. And again, that's to encourage our students to become more international, not to only know about Japanese culture, but to sort of, learn another language or learn another culture. And again, that's going to tie into getting you jobs. I don't know why it isn't. We have a dorm for first year students, so there's 1,500 of you in your first year. Again, half of them are Japanese, half of them are international students. Put you all in big dorm. Again, to force you to interact with people from other countries. You're cooking one night, you're cooking Thai food, the next night you're cooking Vietnamese food. We put you in, usually most students go into a shared type room where you have one Japanese student per international student. You can practice your Japanese, they can practice the English. If you get sick of them, or you want to Skype mum and dad, there's a door, so you can lock the door. So you still have your own privacy, but if you've got questions about your homework, or you want to have a chat to someone, then you've always got a roommate there with you. And then in second year, most students move out into downtown here. So, what does it cost us? Basically, for a year, it's about 13,000 Australian. I don't know how much you guys pay at St. Paul's, but none of our students pay full price, or none of our international students pay full price, because we offer scholarships. Again, as I said before, Japan doesn't have enough young people, so the government's trying to get young people into Japan at the moment. So what we have is we have something called tuition reduction, and we agree to pay a certain percentage of your fees. And it goes for lasts for 4 years. So when we give you your results, say congratulations, we're going to pay 50% of that 13,000. So you have to pay 6.5, we'll pay the other 6.5. And we send you those results along with your offer letter. So if you don't like the offer, you can throw it in the bin, but you know how much you're going to pay up front. I just had a student start with me in April from Sydney, and he's getting 65, and I have another one starting with me in September, and she's getting 80%.
So how do you get,
the
how do you apply? Yeah.
So when you put in your application, there's a short section there for a scholarship section. There's a scholarship essay as well. Basically, we look at you as a whole. So we look at your academic transcripts. We look at, you have a recommendation letter, you do a short essay, you do an interview on Skype. There's no test, and we also look at your extracurricular activities. So if you're doing sport, if you're a prefect, you do something out in the community, then that will really bump you up. Now, for you guys, the good thing about you, and the kid that came from me in April, he has no Japanese. Okay, but he's still on 65%. But if you have Japanese, if you're doing it for your HSC, it bumps you up one level. So originally, if we screened you and we said, okay, we're going to give you 65%, but hey, you speak Japanese, okay, well then you got to 80 automatically. So,
with your entry requirements,
yes.
how does the HSC weight in terms of your entry requirements for kids?
We don't need a UAI.
Yep.
We don't require a UAI at all. We're not looking for straight A students in that we're looking for students that are going to be active, they're going to be part of the community and out there. We do look at your academic transcripts, so if you're getting, straight D's, obviously that's not going to fare very well for you, but we do look at the student as a whole. So even if your marks aren't, you don't have straight A's, that's fine. You can make it up in other areas, if you're out there doing a sport or you're doing something like that. And as I said, if you're getting Japanese, if you're doing Japanese, it's going to bump you up one level, but we don't need any UAI. So, and also something else that's happening, there's no whiteboard marker there, but again, Japanese government, they've got this thing where they're trying to get 30,000 international students in Japan by 2020. They don't have very long. But basically, if you come into Japan on a student visa for your first year, the Japanese government gives you 500 a month. 500 Australian a month for your first year. And again, this is an incentive to get people to come and study in Japan. They don't have young people. They don't have as many young people as they would like to have. So basically, the dormitory is 400 a month, and the Japanese government gives you 500 a month. So that's your rent paid for your first year. So. And I don't know how much universities are starting to cost in Australia at the moment. Of course, when I went to university, it's probably a little bit cheaper. But if you're only paying, 50 or 65% of that a year, probably on par or maybe even cheaper than some Australian universities.
About to be
we don't
much cheaper.
Yes, about to be much cheaper because of the new budget.
Yeah.
And the other thing is we also have different scholarships. External scholarships available for you, but a lot of them we can't guarantee, we can't apply for them unless you've done a year, which you need a GPA, stuff like that. So there are other sort of scholarships available. We also get you a work permit, so as soon as you come, we have an orientation and we get you a work permit on your visa, so you can work 28 hours during the semester, 40 during the break. That doesn't happen in all countries, so I think Japan, we're kind of lucky there. And again, because we have so many tourists coming in, a lot of the hotels are happy to have English speakers working for them because they've got a lot of foreign guests coming in. So, as I said, you just need your academic transcripts. You do a short essay, I think it's 300 words, and then one for your scholarship. You get a recommendation letter from your counsellor. Don't worry about these language requirements because you guys studied in English or English is your first language. This is for students who are coming in who English is their second language and you don't need it, the Japanese one either. And then the application fee is $52. So we charge local students $352 to apply. We try to keep the price low for international students because again we're trying to encourage students to come in. We have 2 enrollment periods, so you can either start in the spring with us, which probably work out better for Australian students. I think you finish in December, you have your results early January. So you can have about 3 months and then start with us in April. Or if you're thinking you want to travel for 6 months or you want to work part-time in Australia, you want to have a bit of time off after high school, then you can start in September. So you don't have to miss a whole year because we have the 2 enrollment periods. The only thing I say is, if you get an early application, then you get your results early, then you can weigh up your other options because I'm sure that you're applying to other universities. So if you leave your application until too late, like if you don't apply until the 31st of October, you're not going to get your results until mid-December. You might have got other offers by then. So I definitely say get an early application, see what we give you back, and then you can kind of work from there.